the new policy about expatriates in Nigeria, the expatriate employment levy policy that mandates companies hiring foreign workers in Nigeria to pay fine of 3 million for various offenses, including failure to submit expatriate employment levy, not registering an employee, and providing false information. This policy has been criticized by NECA, the Nigerian Employment Consultative Association, that it is counterproductive, particularly for a country like Nigeria that is seeking direct foreign investment in Nigeria to improve our economy, that this kind of policy would deter foreign investors from coming to Nigeria to invest. Yes, he made a valid point in that regard. However, he's also not unaware of the fact that Nigeria also has to promote local content. That is, work that Nigerian workers could actually do, the jobs that Nigerian workers are qualified for, should not be taken abroad or should not be given to someone from another country. Given the fact that the unemployment rate in Nigeria is actually increasing by the day, so this policy looks bittersweet to me, particularly when the government is trying to promote local content, increase access to job for Nigerians that are qualified for those jobs instead of inviting somebody abroad to come do the jobs, which is very fine. It's a very good policy. However, for multinational companies, that this goes beyond what we see, um, actually, because companies, they have their policy, they have their culture, they have their mode of operation. Sometimes at an executive level, it is difficult sometimes to recruit someone outside the company to fill some vacant positions, especially the executive level in the organization. So if a company policy does not support the recruitment of people from outside the organization for certain positions, that means the policy of the federal government is indirectly telling them that they need to change the policy or they pay the fine. So if a multinational company that is in Germany, for example, feels that the branch in Nigeria is not doing so well, or there is a change to improve the productivity of that company in Nigeria, they can't send their executive down here. If they are sending, they have to pay, and that is coming at a cost to that company. That would discourage the company from even sending the executive, and that may impact the business operations of that company. Because if you are sending your executive down here, the company um, is also going to make some contribution pay some levy, which is going to the federal government coffers. That is, pay some taxes, acquire visa, rent apartment. So the company is also the country is also winning in this area. However, for the business, they may be discouraged, and new businesses that are planning to come establish in Nigeria with this policy, they may be discouraged to come to Nigeria. They may decide to go to Ghana, countries that are within the West African country, to even operate in Nigeria, while their footful soldiers might be employed in Nigeria. But the executive level positions, very, very sensitive to just bring stranger or a new employee to come fill it up because of any government policy, because they are often strategic, and it requires some level of expertise and experience within the organization to be able to function in those positions. So I think the federal government also might need to look at this policy as well, and sit with NECA to fine tune the policy I believe it is bittersweet. It's not totally bad and it's not totally good. The NECA has a point, the federal government has a point. The country has to grow the employment possibilities, employment openings for its people. So President Bola Tinubu launched the policy on February 28, 2024, aiming to bridge the wage gap between expatriates and Nigerian workers while boosting employment opportunities for qualified Nigerians. Offenses such as inaccurate information may incur penalties. Companies may pay £15,000, $50,000 for expatriate directors and 10,000 for other categories. Yeah, like I said, executive level, most companies will not compromise that. But for other categories, non-executive positions, let's say the from the cadre, graduate trainee, maybe to manager, companies could still cope recruiting, applicants from the company where they operate. But when it comes to the executive level, it's always strategic. You can't just bring anyone to come function in that position. So it is in this regard that I think the federal government should review that policy, particularly as it relates to the executive expatriates. But for other cadre, from graduate training maybe to manager level, I think, yeah, the federal government could impose that on companies. You should at least there should be a percentage of Nigerians working in a multinational company. That would help in that regard. But for expatriates, that is strategic. That is not for a layman to analyze. You need experts like the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. You need expert input from NECA, even from other relevant stakeholders. Let these business owners come and discuss, with the federal government, tell them the dangers embedded in the policy and the the good sides of the policy in order for the federal government to make informed decision. So the expatriate employment levy is mandatory for all expatriates. Expatriate that we're talking about is a company bringing its staff from another country who are not Nigerians to come and work in Nigeria at executive level or any other level. They are expatriates. So any worker in Nigeria that is not a Nigerian, that lives abroad, that had to leave his country to Nigeria to work and get paid, they are all classified as expatriates. So with the compliance, it is required by April 15th that all companies in Nigeria by April 15th, 2024 must comply to this directive of the government. I would want to urge the NECA, the representatives of the NECA. I know the president is someone that I've seen closely, someone that I had listened to his presentation at NECA House at Ikeja. I know him very well before he became the NECA president. Very sound, very brilliant, energetic. He's a very young guy, and I think he should be able to, engage the federal government about this policy, especially at the executive level. I don't think imposing such fine um, it's would do well for investment, especially foreign direct investment in Nigeria. It will distract it because um, executive levels are not just for anybody. They are strategic levels. You need to have ample experience, know the culture, know the strategic goals, short term, long term, futuristic goals of the organization for you to fill in that kind of position. So for you to now bring someone in, it will take a while and it may not fit into the vision and the mission of the organization. So I want the NLC, the NECA president, to speak on, and the federal government as well could just call, invite the people from CIPM to also give them professional advice in this area. I think in that way, the federal government will be able to take a viable decision in view of the deadline of April 15, 2024.